Test 1 2. Test 1 2. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Preston Sports Podcast, coming at you on Monday. It is June 28th, almost done with the month of June. Coming up on July, the hottest month of the year. You know, we're looking forward to it here in Texas. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some teams that I think that aren't being talked about enough in this upcoming season. Now, that doesn't mean these teams will necessarily be Super Bowl contenders, but these are teams that I think have a real shot at playoffs. The teams I'm talking about not necessarily winning their division, but at least making the wild card spot. You know, maybe the 7th or the 6th seed, maybe the 4th seed if everything shakes their way right. But before I do that, make sure you like, subscribe, the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video, which again is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Wednesday, we're coming at you with Football Philosophy Running Backs edition, running back / fullbacks. And then Friday, we'll be doing Fix 'em Up Friday. No idea what team to do. Probably going to do the Jags. You know what? I'm going to say it. I'll do the Jags. But yeah, let's just hop right into it. We're going to start with a team that I am so high on coming into the season, and that is the Carolina Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to be really, really good. Real quick, let me pull up. If you missed the last episode, I got Pro Football Focus, so I'm going to pull up that and look at some Panthers player grades. But while I'm pulling that up, traded for Sam Darnold in the offseason, didn't give up much to get him. I think one of the better moves of the offseason was that trade for Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold's going to play really well. I think he's a really talented quarterback that he played with Adam Gase. You look at what happened with Ryan Tannehill before and after Ryan Gase. I think that we're going to see a lot of really good things out of Sam Darnold this season. Running back, one of the most, currently he's kind of forgotten, but CMC, the best overall football player in the league, probably. You know, he can run the ball, he can catch the ball really well, he could probably play slot receiver if he wanted to. And speaking of receivers, they're not lacking. They got Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. They picked up David Moore from Seattle. And then they don't go super deep on that list. After that, it goes to, fourth wide receiver Terrence Marshall Jr. picked him up in the draft, one of the better receivers in a star-studded receiver draft. Then that's when it starts to thin out a little bit. At their tight ends, they have Dan Arnold and Ian Thomas, who I think is a really good tight end. They have an okay offensive line. Let's look at some PFF grades real quick. Speaking of their offensive line, Taylor Moton, their highest graded offensive player, with an 81 PFF grade. Let me actually go by position and look at their starters specifically. So their starting center, Matt Paradis, only a 63, but that doesn't really show how good he was. Like, that's 20th of 36 eligible centers, and he, in all honesty, he played better than a 63 overall grade when you watch the film. Pat Efline, however you say it, and John Miller. Pat was not great, 73rd of 80 eligible guards, but that's okay. That's okay. It looks to me like their offensive line really isn't that good, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Interesting. That's kind of disappointing. But it's important to remember it's better than Sam Darnold's offensive line. No, I think the offensive line is honestly fine. Why is Pat Efline listed at center? Oh, he's just their backup center. Their offensive line is honestly fine. It's not the best offensive line in the world, but that doesn't make it the worst offensive line in the world. And then Trent Scott, not the best tackle, but then I go back to Taylor Moton, who played really well last year, anchoring the offensive line at that left tackle position, or right tackle position rather. I believe he's playing on a franchise tag, if I remember correctly. And, while the offense is great, the defense is where this team makes its money. Their corners, they're lacking a little. Deontay Johnson, A.J. Boye, and Troy Pride Jr., but it's important to remember that they did pick up, in PFF One show this, they did pick up J.C. Horn in the draft. He's has the possibility of being the best corner in the draft, and so your starting two corners are looking like Deontay Jackson and J.C. Horn. Rashawn Melvin behind him, and it looks like A.J. Boye is suspended for some reason. Classic A.J. Boye. And you go down to the safeties, up to the safeties, I guess. You have Jeremy Chin, who was one of the better safeties out of the draft last year. PFF has not been too favorable to him. But say you were to pull up his stats, Jeremy Chin stats, you would be a lot more impressed than what the PFF grade showed you. So we look at Jeremy Chin's stats throughout his rookie year, made a real case for Defensive Player of the Year. He had 2 touchdowns, first of all, which on defense is pretty impressive. He had 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. Those 2 touchdowns, he had a sack, 117 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 5 QB hits. Pretty good season. Now, he's listed at safety. He plays a lot of box safety, so he's playing where linebackers would normally play. But that's okay. That's no knock against the guy. Speaking of linebackers, they were able to get Denzel Perriman. Denzel Perriman in free agency, and then they also have Shaq Thompson, who's kind of getting up there in age, but hopefully he can still give you a little bit of what he's got left. You go to their defensive line. You have Brian Burns, Brian Burns is one of, if not the most underrated players in the league. Let me get this PFF grade, because I promise you, it's pretty freaking good. He was a 76, 13 of 108. Here, let me go by the overall grade. Ooh, Denzel Perriman was number 1? Sure. We go to Brian Burns. He had a 76.8. His pass rush grade, though, which is really important with edge rushers. Your run defense, sure, that's important. Your coverage, not as important. But his pass rush grade was an 86.9 out of 100. 86.9. B+. Really good grade. Denzel Perriman, his run defense was really good. 86. Let me look up Denzel Perriman's stats. I'm a big stat guy, in case you can't tell. Denzel Perriman, of course, coming out of the Chargers organization. Someone I actually wanted the Browns to sign, in all honesty. Coming off, looks like he was injured this past season. I do remember something about that. Still played in 13 games, only had 6 starts, though. Had 0 interceptions. Had a pass defended, a forced fumble, 48 tackles, 25 of those being solo, 3 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. So kind of regressing. What was his best season? 2019. It looks like it was. 2019 he had 1 interception, 1 pass defended, 1 forced fumble, 68 tackles, 50 of those being solo tackles, 5 tackles for loss. So actually it's kind of up what his best season was. His rookie year, he had 73 tackles. Good for him. They kind of changed how they've been using him over the past couple of years. See, he's listed at DB. There's no way he played DB. But I think the Panthers will be really good. I forgot to mention Hassan Reddick, who played really well out of Arizona last year, and Derrick Brown, who showed promise as a rookie. Came out of, I forget where, was it Alabama? Where did Derrick Brown come out of? I'm going to remember it as soon as I see it. Defensive tackle, college. Auburn, it was Auburn, gosh dang it. Comes out of Auburn as a primary run defender, but he also showed impressive pass rush capabilities. And then they also picked up, they also have a Yetur Gross-Matos, who can play whenever you need him to on the edge. So I think that this Carolina Panthers team is not being talked about nearly enough, and I think they have the chance to make a real playoff push. Another team I have on this list, I might be a little biased because this is a family team. My family originates from the great state of Colorado, so I'm going to talk about the Denver Broncos right here. Listen, I mean, Drew Lock, a lot of Drew Lock's problems last year were the offensive play calling. Now, people give quarterbacks crap a lot. They're like, oh, this quarterback isn't good. Like with Tom Brady, for example, they'll say, Tom Brady's not that good because Tom Brady had Bill Belichick, so therefore making it less impressive the stuff he's done. Because how can he be good when he has the best head coach of all time? Or one of the best head coaches of all time? So I don't like that excuse, but people aren't talking enough about how bad Drew Lock's coaching staff was, plus the injuries across the offensive line and within the wide receiver rooms. I think it's important. So Drew Lock through, I think it's in his career they're talking about. Drew Lock has thrown 18 interceptions. I think 16 of those interceptions are in a 5-wide set. And so stuff like that, I guess Drew Lock can't process having 5 receivers out. Or maybe he has a little bit more difficulty making his reads in those sets. Whatever it may be, that is up to the coaching staff to recognize, hey, this kid can't do that. And that's fine, but I have to put him in a position to succeed. And his coaches just didn't do that at all last year. They did bring in Teddy Bridgewater in case Drew Lock just isn't panning out, which I think, sure, that's a fine move. They didn't have to trade much to get him, so I think good for them. But I still think Drew Lock can be the guy. I don't think he'll be great or anything, but I think he can be the guy. They have Melvin Gordon, who isn't what he was in San Diego or Los Angeles, whatever he was in. They have pretty good wide receivers. They go pretty deep. We're talking Cortland Sutton coming off an ACL tear. Jerry Jeudy coming off a kind of bad rookie year. KJ Hamler and Tim Patrick. Jerry Jeudy had a lot of drop issues. I think he'll fix those. I think he was just a rookie being a rookie. KJ Hamler and Tim Patrick, some of the underrated wide receivers. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock they're not gonna make the roster. Kendall Hinton, the best quarterback in the league. I think he's 1 for 9 and an interception. Real stud. Tight end Noah Fant. Dude, this man's a beast. People don't talk about it. This man's a beast. Definitely probably going to be a top 5 tight end at the end of the season. Albert Okwuegbunam. Stud tight end, I think, going into his second year. Their offensive line, Garrett Bowles, after being kind of a bust, is coming into his own, playing really good, one of the better tackles in the league. Dalton Reisner, Lloyd Cushenberry, Graham Glasgow, Bobby Massey make up an okay offensive line. Good, not great. You could obviously do better, but it's not the worst you could do. You go to the 3-4 defense. They have Draymond Jones, Mike Purcell, and Shelby Harris make up the interior. You're going left end, nose tackle, right end. That's not like Shelby Harris. Sure, there's some power there, but your real star power is coming from your edge rushers. You have Bradley Chubb, and then Von Miller coming off of injury. Von Miller, one of the best pass rushers since he was drafted. Bradley Chubb, kind of underwhelming for the 4th overall pick. You hope to see some good production out of them. And then you go to your interior linebackers. Excuse me. You have Alexander Johnson and Josie Jewell. Not the best. Alexander Johnson's okay, but he's kind of old. Josie Jewell is there to play football. That's about it. Your secondary, this is the best secondary in the league. I mean, it's absolutely insane. So Kyle Fuller they picked up on a 1-year deal. Ronald Darby they signed to, I think, a 3-year deal. They drafted Patrick Surtain, the 2nd and 9th overall. They have Bryce Callahan, arguably the best slot in the league. And then your safeties, just Justin Simmons and just Kareem Jackson. Let me pull up the Broncos PFF. Because I think people, with Justin Simmons, he's not a great tackler, but he plays free safety, so it's like, whatever, no one cares. But I just want to see, poor Kendall Hinton having a 24 PFF grade. Man balled out. He showed up when no one else did. Yeah, Garrett Bowles is a beast, 90 PFF grade. Albert Okwuegbunam, the tight end, had an 83. Tim Patrick had a 74. Noah Fant had a 71. Bobby Massey had a 72. He had an 89 receiving. My man's a beast. Who am I really worried about right now? Yes, Deshaun Hamilton. Boyd Cushenberry, garbage. We knew that, though. Everyone else was either hurt. Okay, so this is the important stuff. First of all, Bryce Callahan balled out. 86 overall PFF coverage grade. 84 overall grade. Shelby Harris also balled out, actually. 83 pass rush, 76 run defense. Okay, Shelby Harris making a name for yourself. But this is what I'm talking about. Justin Simmons is, not as good as I thought it was. Never mind. Broncos, trash. Broncos will never be good. But yeah, I think the Broncos have a real chance to make at least a wild card spot. You look at, where's Mr. Kyle Fuller? Was Kyle Fuller not good? Is it something I missed out on? I guess he wasn't that good. Kyle Fuller's garbage. Now, PFF grades are nothing to live and die by, just so we know. It's just kind of an approximate value thing. But yeah, Broncos have the best secondary in the league, have a really good defensive line. Their interior linebackers need some work. Their offensive line still needs some work. But I think if their quarterback play is really good... Sorry, I don't know why I yawn so much in the closet. But if Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater plays decent football, this team will be a real dangerous threat in the AFC West. And we're going to go to the last team. It's kind of a hard team for me to talk good about. But it is the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, stud. We'll see how he comes back after injury. Played pretty well last year. Definitely right now, fourth best quarterback. He's the fourth best quarterback in the division. For me, yeah, he's fourth. For me, it goes Baker, Lamar, Ben, Burrow, and leave me alone about Baker. He's a better quarterback. Lamar's a better football player. We can have this discussion later. Joe Burrow's the fourth best quarterback in the division. Baker's the best quarterback in the division. We'll talk about it later. We got Joe Mixon also coming off of injury. They kind of saved him towards the end of the season. One of the better running backs in the league, but we'll see how he does. I don't think he's that good. People kind of talk him up like he's the best. I don't think he's top 10. Wide receiver room. This is a really good wide receiver room. Tyler Boyd, really good slot receiver. T. Higgins really came on last year. Showed good connection with Joe Burrow. He's a real monster. Speaking of connection with Joe Burrow, they went out and they saw Penei Sewell. They saw Joe Burrow get murdered last year and they said, nah, we're going to get him Jamar Chase. So they went out, they got Jamar Chase. I mean, respect to him, They had the cojones to do it, and they did it. But Joe Burrow might not have any cojones if he keeps getting hit like that. Auden Tate, their fourth receiver, so they go about 4 deep. Their tight end, this is where they kind of suck, Shoot. They got Drew Sample, CJ Uzoma, Mason. Is that Mason Shrek? SCHRECK. That's Mason Shrek. I love it. And then the GOAT, Thaddeus Moss, also on that LSU team. They're just assembling the LSU Dream Team here. Now, this is where the team really sucks. If you thought tight end was bad, Jonah Williams, Xavier Serafilo, Trey Hopkins, Jackson Carman, I'm sorry, and Riley Reif. So, this team is so bad based off the offensive line. I mean, it's so bad. It's outstandingly awful. Penei Sewell was there. Why didn't you take him? Your wide receivers were fine. I won't focus too much on it. It's just going to make me sad. You go to their good old defense. They took Joseph Osai. I would have liked the Browns to take Joseph Osai. I thought he was a really good value pick. But they signed Trey Hendrickson in free agency. They got the beast out of Charlotte, Larry Ogunjobi. Shout out Bengal. They got Larry Ogunjobi. They still have DJ Reader. They have Sam Hubbard. Linebackers, Logan Wilson, Great rookie year. He processed information at the linebacker position so well. So you don't see that a lot out of rookies, and he did so well. So shout out to you, dude. Jermaine Pratt. They have Akeem Davis Gaither at their Sam linebacker. Their secondary, kind of trash and all. They have Eli Apple. Ugh. But Trey Waynes, Chidobe Awuzie, Mike Hilton's going to be their slot guy for sure. Like, he just has to be. Then Eli Apple. Not the team you want, but, it's not the worst in the world when you really think about it. And then Von Bell, pretty good strong safety, really good box player. And then the GOAT, Jesse Bates, really good safety, probably top 5 in the league. Evan McPherson, the best kicker in the draft. Saw that stupid little kick he did where he flipped the water bottle cap off. Yeah, pretty cool. I think the Bengals have a good team. So this is kind of dependent. If the offensive line can play like a top, honestly, just give Joe Burrow 3 seconds. He just give him 3 seconds, have them run some play action stuff, kind of give Joe Burrow at least a chance to do what he has to do, because Joe Burrow's a baller, he's a real baller, but he can't ball unless you give him space and time to ball. You just give Jamar Chase time to get downfield, give Joe Burrow time to let one loose. I mean, this team is dependent on the offensive line. And so if these guys want to show up, I'm sure they will. But I don't think they will necessarily. I don't think they'll show up as much as they could. But I think this team has serious potential to go to be the 7th seed. I mean, the AFC's tough, so you probably have to get about 9 wins to be the 7th seed probably. But I mean, hey, I think this team has a real shot. Their defense is looking to be better than last year. This is a team that just improved overall. Their offensive line can't really get worse. Their tight ends couldn't really get worse. But their wide receivers improved. Their defensive line improved. Their linebackers stayed the same. Their secondary, it improved. They added talent. It's just a matter of if they use it well. But yeah, so those are 3 teams that I think have a chance to at least make the playoffs. The only team I think could probably go, I think the Panthers and the Broncos could go farther depending on how well they do individually. But yeah, so Panthers, Broncos, Bengals, 3 teams that I think have a real shot at doing something crazy. Maybe you're looking at a giant Super Bowl, where they go 9-7. And then they win the Super Bowl. Maybe. I'm not saying they will, but that would be pretty cool, right? But, thanks, guys. Thank you for listening. Make sure, again, subscribe, boop the notification bell. I will be back on Wednesday with some football philosophy, and I will talk to you guys then. Peace out.